Sky Blue Fans TV tonight. We have a couple of fantastic guests tonight. Our very own club historian Jim Brown and founder of the Sky Blues History Podcast, which are honoured to be Jim's sidekick, and also former Coventry City Academy coach Dan Elliott, who is currently on a Kenyan adventure and is out there coaching and searching for footballing talent in Africa. Also, team members Jack and Vicky are here as well. Miles is off to Devon and Kenny's working. We'll be chatting history, coaching, players' evenings, and anything else that comes up. Oh, we might even mention the game on Monday. Well, I'll bring the team in. Jack, Vicky, let's have you in. Good evening, Jack. Good evening, Vicky.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You all good? Are we feeling better at the minute? Are we still feeling good?
Well, we know how we thought on Monday, Claudio, because obviously me and you went live, but yeah, I'm all right.
How are you, Vicky, after Monday night and dropping down a place, but still 5 points clear of third?
Yeah, I've got over it now. I'm feeling positive again. I think we're going to do a proper Coventry job on Monday and win.
Brilliant. Right, we'll bring in Jim Brown first. Let's get Jim in. Good evening, Jim.
I can't hear.
You can't hear us?
Oh,
Oh, that's interesting. You still can't hear us?
didn't this happen to another guest?
Oh, no, we'll bring Dan in. Jim, maybe log in and come back in again, maybe.
If he can hear us.
You won't be able to hear you say that.
Yes, we'll bring Dan in. Evening, Dan. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
That's really weird because every week we use the same system to do our history podcast, and me and Jim can hear each other quite well. So hopefully we'll come in. So we'll get Jim in a minute. Now, if you want to ask questions, Jim is here eventually, and if you want to ask him something, but we'll start with you then, Dan. You're obviously a Coventry City supporter. Many years?
Yeah, all my life. From my uncle Nobby was a Camden boy. Not with us any longer, but he was the inspiration to support Coventry City. Yeah.
And you've been you're also a coach, and you've coached at the academy, and you've coached elsewhere, haven't you? So how did you get into that then?
It was actually my uncle Nobby's son-in-law Dave invited. I wasn't a troublesome teenager, but I was highly active. And at 16, he invited me to go and coach at Rugby Boro. And I did my level 1 within the first couple of months. And then after about 4 months of being there, someone dropped out of the FA level 2. And I did my FA level 2 at Henley College as a 17-year-old. And Ray Rafferty was on my course. Remember Raff?
Yeah.
Raff's a bit of a lad around the town, and he was on the course. Lenny Darby. And we had some real Coventry fans on there as well. So it was Henley College, did my level 2, and that got me over to America when I was 19 years old. So I've been involved in the game ever since, really. And when I returned from America in 2001, started at the academy under Oggy and did 18 months under Oggy. And George Peed was the kit man. Ray Gooding was about. Barry Powell was about. Some great people involved in the academy back then.
Brilliant. So we just get Jim back in, because Jim... Can you hear us now, Jim?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah, I couldn't hear you before.
Brilliant. Now, you've got an announcement to make, but I just want to quickly ask you, because you're a man of great knowledge, and you always, whenever we do our podcast, I'm very much glass half empty. You're always glass half full. So how have you seen this season? What have you made of it all, the 2/3 of this season?
It's been wonderful, hasn't it? Absolutely wonderful. It's got to be the best season since we left the Premiership, I think. Whatever happens, we might look back and say that we blew it, but we may look back and say it's a promotion season to the Premiership. Who knows?
Yeah, because I was looking at it. The first, we got basically a season in thirds, haven't we? The first third, A+, the second third, possibly C-, maybe a D. We just got to get up to a B+. We might get promotion.
Yes.
Somebody said to me, "Oh, look at our next 7 fixtures. They're so difficult." And I thought, hold on a minute. We've beaten 5 of them already and drew the other 2. So it's still doable, isn't it?
Of course it is. You know, and in this crazy league, anything can happen. you just have to look at the results of the last couple of weeks, where Derby won 5-0 at Bristol City, and Bristol City go and win 3-2 at Hull, and Hull were the form side in the division. It's anything can happen. So I'm not going to predict anything.
You never do.
No, I never do. No. But I think I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping we can get it over the line. But if we don't, it'll still be a good season. Would you have taken playoffs at the start of the season?
I only thought we'd make the playoffs. I never even thought about automatics.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Now you've come on for a reason.
I have, yes.
Tell us
some
about
great
it.
news. Some great news. The Sky Blue Archive website is back up and running.
Brilliant.
And we're doing the official launch tomorrow on CWR. But we've had a pretty torrid time. We had a massive loss of data from the website last summer. Through no fault of our own, all the data was wiped out. And we face an enormous task to rebuild it. Thankfully, we've had the help of many unpaid volunteers who've put countless hours, days and nights to restore the website to the position it was in last summer. So Sky Blue fans, once again, have got access to over 140 years of Sky Blue history, as far back as the early days of Singers FC, right up to this season, right up to the minute. And in addition to we've got the massive match database up and running. We've also got a fantastic collection of programs up now. We've got player and manager profiles. We've got a media archives, lots of audios and videos, links to a lot of videos that are on YouTube. We've got a kit archive. Every match you look at has got the kit that City wore on that day. Lionel Bird has done an amazing job on writing the Singers FC history. And we've also got a digital museum where some of the artifacts that we've got in the archive, we've photographed and put them on the website. There's lots more to come. We've really only just scraped the surface with that. We've got a vast collection of programs from the pre-war period. We've got those digitally, and we intend to get those up as soon as we can. We've got thousands of press cuttings, match reports and things to load. Lots of photographs in the archives of matches that we're going to get put up on the match database. So when you look at a match on the database, you can see the score, the scorers, the attendance, both lineups, a picture of the programme, a picture of the kit that City wore, the match report, and any photographs we've got of that game. So it's been a very torrid period, but we've got there. We've got back to the place we were, and I encourage all City fans to take a look at the website. The web address is www.skybluearchive.com. So please go on there and have a look at it.
It's got to be fairly unique, Jim, because it's a bit like our history podcast. I don't know any club who's got any supporters doing that, and I don't think there's too many archives, is there, of actual or so much data about a football club. So it's quite extraordinary what you've put together.
Yeah, we're very proud of it. There are a handful of clubs who've got pretty impressive sites, and whilst I wouldn't say we've copied them, we've taken some of the best ideas from them in designing our own. The Luton Town one is excellent. The Exeter City one is excellent. But yeah, this has got a very much a Coventry City feel. We feel it's we feel it's very special, and I think most fans will think it's pretty special.
I don't know if you need to photograph the 3 goalkeeping tops I've still got of yours here. I'll need to hand them back. I think we need to drop them over.
Don't leave the country.
No, I'm not going to leave the country. So, any real special items that you have in the archives?
Oh, well, we've got a fantastic programme collection already going. I think we've got every home programme back to 1960 now. We've got some very interesting trophies and lots of things that were given to the club during, let's say, post-season tours or special games, benefit games, perhaps. And very often when Coventry City were invited to play, let's say, a testimonial game, the hosting club would always give a, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Yes, the hosting club would generally give Coventry City some kind of gift. It might be just something like a plaque or a pennant or something in to remember the game with. So we've got some really interesting trophies that the youth team won when we had an outstanding youth team in the 70s. We've also got the Anglo-Scottish Cup Winners' Cup trophy, which is the infamous game with St Mirren.
Oh, of course, that one.
In 1987. When the planned second leg in Scotland never took place, but we do have the trophy. So I believe the Scottish Supporters Club are pushing hard to get a friendly game for this trophy. So we'll have the trophy ready for the winners.
That'd be brilliant. I believe you've got John Sillett's FA Cup final suit. Is that in the archives?
Yes, we have. Yes, and his socks and shoes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Now, this season, obviously, with the fantastic start we've had, and of course, it's been clawed back. Before you go, can you sort of briefly, because for those who haven't seen any of the history episodes, we did one recently on where we've had great starts, but not so amazing finishes. But 63-64 at the minute is very much a mirror of this season, isn't it?
It is, yes. On January the 3rd, 1964, the Sky Blues were in the 3rd division, and they were, although it was 2 points for a win back in those days, they were ahead by the equivalent of 13 points, or was it 14 points? And they then managed to not win a game in 11 games without a win. And the penultimate game in that awful run was a 5-2 home defeat to Southend, who were no great shakes. They're middle of the table side. And Jimmy Hill, the manager, tried everything. You know, he switched the team around. He changed the tactics. He even considered bringing a hypnotist in to see if he could turn the club's form around. But he did sign 2 players just on the transfer deadline day, which was, back then it wasn't January, it's in March. And those 2 players, George Kirby and John Smith, really made the difference. They managed to get a few wins under their belt, although they slipped down to 3rd place. But on the final day, they really had to rely on other teams losing, and that's what happened. Crystal Palace lost, Watford lost, and the Sky Blues leapfrogged them both and ended up as champions of the 3rd division. So it's a salutary tale, isn't it?
That sounds good to me. And you guys got anything to ask Jim at all while he's still here for a bit?
Got some comments. After everyone else has anyone else got a question first?
So I was too busy looking at the website. It's great.
Yes, so I've just popped on. This is the homepage of the website. So up and running tomorrow, as you say, Jim.
Well, it's up and running now, actually.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
And then just quickly tell us about the latest episode of your podcast before I get to some comments.
Oh, this
is Claudio. You can talk about this.
Yeah, this is to do with the seasons where we've had the great starts and not so great finishes. 2 of the seasons we didn't make it. 1 of them we did, and also listeners' emails. We get fantastic feedback from around the world, don't we, Jim? It's ridiculous.
We do.
It's just absolutely wonderful from all around the world, from people who are, expats, and they don't get, and it's a link to their club and family and friends, and some wonderful stories, which we're going to do some more next week, hopefully. And just fantastic. The feedback's been great, hasn't it, Jim? It really took us by surprise, actually.
Yes, it has. And we've had some fabulous guests.
Sorry, Dan?
Great for the younger generation. I know my son Jack will be on that now because he's Cov City mad now. He's 8 years old, but it would be great to understand the history. That'd be fantastic for the kids to have a look at.
Great. Before I go, Claudio, I just mention the Sky Blue Archive. We've now become a charity, and we're obviously run. It's not for profit. It's run by volunteers, and all the monies that we raise goes to building the Sky Blue Archive collection. Yesterday we acquired the Pele, the shirt worn by Pele when he played against Coventry City in 1972 for Santos. That shirt's been in the possession of Alan Green, our former player, for many years. But the archives have acquired that for our collection. And fans can help the Sky Blue Archive by making financial donation on the website, or they can also consider donating memorabilia to us either via the website or at the email address info@skybluearchive.com. A lot of people in recent months have donated stuff, and every day we're getting emails with people with collections they wanted to take off their hands, and we obviously use the donations to fill in gaps in our collection. But anything spare, we try and sell to raise money for the archive to build the collection, to repair some of the trophies that have been damaged over the years, to buy replica shirts that we're missing in our collection. We have got a lot of gaps in our shirt collection. So anyone's got any shirts they'd like to donate, we'd love to have them. We also collaborate with the Music Museum, the Coventry Music Museum. And I don't know if you know, but they're launching a Hazel O'Connor exhibition this week, and we're sponsoring that for them.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, we're also looking for more volunteer helpers. We can never have too many of them. So if anybody, maybe somebody's retired, they've got a few hours a week to help us. Particularly if they've got experience in museum work, maybe curating, or they've got IT skills that we could put to use, please get in touch again with info@skybluearchive.com.
Now, I believe, because there's a question here about having stuff displayed at the CBS, but I believe you have been in talks for a long time, haven't you, with the club to try and do something at the club? But obviously we've only owned it for a few months, so it's a bit difficult, isn't it, at the minute, to find a spot or how to do it, I suppose, Jim?
Yes, it's something we're in constant dialogue with the football club and have been for a number of years, about how we can present the collection and bring it to a wider audience. So those talks are always, they're ongoing. and very fruitful at times.
Brilliant. Jim, Jack, is there any questions for Jim quickly on there?
Yeah, well, there's quite a lot of positive comments coming in, Jim, but there's a question from Cameron De Rossi. Is it true that Coventry City tried to have Brian Clough as manager before he went to Nottingham?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It was while he was at Derby in 1972. This was just after Noel Cantwell was sacked. And Bob Dennison had taken over as the caretaker manager till the end of the season. And Coventry were looking around for a new manager. And there were serious talks with Brian Clough, who was, say, manager at Derby at the time, to such an extent that Derek Robbins, the Coventry chairman, was convinced that Clough was going to leave Derby for Coventry. But I think what happened is that Clough used Coventry's interest in order to get a pay rise with Derby. And it all fell apart over Easter. And Clough stayed at Derby. They actually won the league that season. That was that's the story I've heard anyway. And I think it's pretty reliable. And of course, Coventry appointed Joe Mercer and Gordon Milne not long afterwards.
Any more, Jack?
Yeah, just Jim, glad to have archives set back up. Your knowledge and information is fantastic. Last question for Dan. I'll come back to that one. Great work, Jim and the team. We will never be forgotten with the work you do. Love the history podcast, says Anthony Pettifer. Used to have lots I want to hear. They provide us with great insight from the players and past and players and managers. How does the current squad rate against previous squads, do you reckon, Jim? That's one of the questions.
Yeah, it's very difficult to compare one era with another, isn't it? The game has changed so much. But and this is my opinion only, but I think we've got the best squad since we left the Premiership. Easily the best squad since we left the Premiership. Yeah.
I don't think you're alone in that opinion there.
Yeah.
And some of the material archive should be displayed at the CBS, says Meza Army. And I just want to thank Jim for all of his hard work over the years. He is amazing, says Vince. So quite a lot of positivity for you, Jim.
There's one
Good.
there from P-Lol says, what do you think is the biggest sliding doors moment at the club? There we go. What's Jim's?
That's a good one, isn't it? I think it probably, we were talking about 1964, but it was probably that day, the final day of that season, when Crystal Palace and Watford lost and we won. And if we hadn't gone up, would we have had the Jimmy Hill era? I wonder whether Derek Robbins might have sacked Jimmy Hill. That could be it. There's probably others in more modern day. I don't know.
Because we were drifting at as a club, weren't we, before Jimmy Hill turned up? So it was momentous to get ourselves promoted and back into Division 2, which is now, for those too young, the Championship.
Yes.
I think
I guess the other sliding doors moment, you might say, was half time at Villa Park in 2001.
Oh, good shout.
You know, if we'd stayed at 2-0 and stayed up, then we might never have been relegated. We could have had 59 years of top flight history, couldn't we?
What an adventure, though, Jim.
Yeah.
So before we go, then, if somebody wants to buy one of your books, which are all available still, which couple of books would be a good place to start?
Oh, it's a good question. Well, to get the whole history, you need to buy them all, Claudio.
That's true. I know that. They're in my downstairs loo, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
I like the one with the years with all your little match quotes in there.
The elite era.
Yeah. Yeah, the Elite. That's a really good book, I think, for
Yes.
looking back on. Jim, I'll let you go because I know you're a busy man. But if you want to remind everybody about the website for the archive.
Yeah. So it's skybluearchive.com. Very simple.
Brilliant. And I think we should all have a look at that. But after this show finishes. Right then, Jim. Thanks very much for coming on. And
You're
we'll
welcome.
speak soon. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Cheers,
welcome.
Jim.
Good night.
Thanks, Jim.
Good night.
Bye.
Hey, Jim. Top man.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Should we do some comments and we'll come to you, Dan? We'll talk
problem.
about your coaching career.
Yeah, there's loads of people talking about Middlesbrough already. I'll come back to that one. Pick the wrong one. Boro are serial bottlers, says Sky Blue Sam. Mark Patman, evening all. Let's do the Boro on Monday night and show them why we love playing them. Exactly. They haven't got a clean sheet in the last 12 away games, says Glenn Watkin. Having a great season. I don't want playoffs. I want us to be champions, says Cameron De Rossi. Well, we all do. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Frank the Tank, on the birth of their son. Frank, your wife has delivered. Now it's your turn, starting against Boro this Monday. Gavs de la Grande, evening all. D-Day will be here on Monday, the 16th of February. It's going to be monumental for us, and I'm hoping it will also be epic in our favour. I'll come back to that one as well. The goal difference counts double on Monday night. That's why a draw would still be a good result on Monday if we can't win. Rich Overson says, great to see the work Dan is doing and the amount of players he's helped over the years.
Thank you, Rich.
There's lots more comments. There's people having conversations with themselves in the comments today. Mark says, 2 negatives for me, saying playoffs would be good. We need to get back to winning ways and push for automatics. It's on the players now to make it happen on the pitch. Remember, we haven't played anybody yet a couple of months ago, Ipswich aside. City have had good results against top teams. We all knew it would be the inferior teams City would struggle to beat. Why can't we be champions, says Cameron De Rossi. Yeah, exactly. Hope we change our formation for Boro, says Paul Stratton. It will take them 20 minutes to work out how we're playing. They will set up 4-3-3. I can tell you that other teams have been watching and worked it out. We need new set piece ideas, and there's a question for Dan actually on that in a bit. I remember Wolves and Cov fighting for promotion in 66-67. Wolves were top from Boxing Day, and the lead changed several times up to the final. As long as we go up, I don't really care, to be honest. But at this point, Paul Stratton said, best formation, would it be 4-4-2? Well, we can talk about that in a little bit. There's loads for Jim. He's gone now. I'm trying to skim through them all. Which midfielders would you have? Frank the Tank and Eccles, says Cameron De Rossi. Mark says, need Frank the Tank playing on Monday. You need him to boss the midfield. Grimes and Sims and Wright up front. That's a bit of a odd front three, but everyone's got their own opinion, Paul. On the bench, another super sub with Rodoni. I'm not sure who he's referring to there. Would you play De Silva? There's all these questions. Bobby and Kitch to return. EMC on the left. Tats on the right. Hadji up front. Don't forget the Tank. Yeah, there's lots of opinions. We'll come on to ours, I'm sure, shortly. But first, let's have a chat to Dan then.
Yeah. So, Dan, I was drawn to you because I was just, like I do, going through YouTube trying to find Coventry City fans. and I didn't realise, I just started watching your videos and I was drawn to this Kenya because married twice, my first honeymoon was in Kenya. That is where the red swivelly shirt thing, that raspberry ripple thing, still is. Yeah, because there was a swimming pool attendant who was a great guy, really helpful. And one day I got him to go and get me AFC Leopards football shirt, and but he come back with the whole kit, which is a bit funny. But he didn't get it the first day because he came back. He told me it was going to cost probably about 18 or 16 Kenyan shillings or something, and I thought, okay. And I gave him 20 and he came back with no kit. I said, why didn't you come back with a kit? He goes, well, it was a little bit more than he said it was. And he thought that I might have thought he just pinched the money or something, I said, no, just go back and buy it. So he bought it. And then I thought, seeing as it's so great, I've only just bought that shirt. It was 1992, and I gave him the shirt thinking I'll get a new one when I get back. I never bought it. So it's in Kenya somewhere. And the funny thing was,
I'll keep an eye out for it. I'll go and have a walk around, see if I can pick it up for you.
well, you won't miss it, will you? But they used to call him, his nickname was Jumbo, but they used to call him John Barnes because he looked like John Barnes and he played like him. And we arranged a football match. I mean, trust me, to pick a hotel that got a football pitch on it. This is in Mombasa. And he arranged a football match between the Brits against the Germans. It was brilliant. Yeah, we'd all got trainers on. These lads were playing barefooted, and I thought they were amazing. So when I saw your Kenyan adventure thing, I thought, that's interesting. So the question is, how do you end up being an academy coach at Coventry City, doing the ball scouting bit, which we'll probably talk about as well, and then now you're in Kenya doing what you're doing? What's it all about?
Truthfully, I probably became disheartened with coaching in England. With it, we're all experts, aren't we? We're all experts on the game. Even the mum who drops the child off has a chat with you because their son didn't play at the weekend, and it just becomes draining. So I've just tried to rejuvenate and find the love for the game again. And the people over here are incredible. So I'm in a village called Kiambu, and I'm walking through the village every day, and I had a result. So I walked to the academy. It's a 10-minute walk from my hotel, and the academy is called True Talents of Africa. And they're nearly finished. They've got 40 residential rooms where the kids can reside, and they can live there, take part in education, and play full-time football, which is exactly what I did in 2011 with Gordon Strachan. So I set up the Strachan Football Foundation.
Okay, brilliant.
So set up that, and it's the same model. So it's all my experiences over the last 20 years or 15 years related to this, and it's really working. So we've had some really interesting conversation about coach development. I've just come off a webinar about scouting and what Premier League clubs look for in a player. And look, found it on LinkedIn and connection. The strange thing was a lad called Scott Wells, he's a Coventry kid, signed for Derby when he was 16, got released when he was 18, went on a scholarship to America. He turns out to be the owner of this company's coach in America. Last Friday, I don't get told, Scott arrives. I'm in the middle of Kenya. A lad I've known for 12 years arrives on site. And a Cov kid, Scott Wells. It blew my mind. But I'm having a great time. I'm just coming into my third week. I come home on March the 6th. Still managing to get the games. I won't tell you how I'm getting the games, but I think it's Steve Bracknell's mate, Fire Stick Dave, is looked after me. And
don't know what you're talking about. So what are you actually looking for? You're hoping to find talent to spread around the world? Is that the idea?
I think it's just picking on my experience because I've set the education programs up. I did the Strachan one. We did Strachan until 2017. Then I went and worked with ProDirect, which is the online retailer, helped set up ProDirect Birmingham, ProDirect Northampton, and just helped them guide their way. And I just ticked all the boxes. They were looking for a football consultant for a certain period of time. I can't go away full-time abroad because I've got young children. I've got Jack, who's 8, Martha, who's 11, both City fans, and they love it. So I could come away with short periods. So it met what I needed. And it's working really well. We've had some really good chats. The quality of coaching now is outstanding. I think where we're at, they're technical, they're very good. The Kenyan is Frank the Tank in my head. The cardio, strong, fit, powerful, number 8 who's going to go up and down. That's what they're developing. I think where they need work is stop watching 90-second clips of Messi and Ronaldo and watch 90-minute games. It's about the tactical element of the game where they may lack.
Well, this is what they were accused of way back, when African teams, especially the national sides, were getting through to World Cup finals. They're always classed as, who, if you're old enough, who can't forget, well, it's democratic Congo. It was Zaire then, wasn't it? It was Congo now, isn't it? And everybody thought they were just a bit of a joke. And of course, 1990 came along and Cameroon, and they surprised a lot of people. I mean, I was at 1990. I was there for Roger Miller and all that. Absolutely amazing. And everybody fell in love with the Cameroon team. And that night, with 6 minutes to go, they probably should have put England out of the World Cup had Gary Lineker not died. We won't talk about that. But, they proved then African countries had arrived on the World Cup scene, the world scene.
And they've got an exciting time. So the next AFCON, next 2027 AFCON is shared between 3 countries, Uganda, Tanzania and Kenya. So that's what they're building up for now. And a lot of our work is going to be based around AFCON. Maybe tours. We're looking at tours as well and getting people across and living in the residential and experiencing Kenya as well as the AFCON.
Because obviously
Am I
Kenya...
right in saying, sorry, Claudia, with AFCON, am I right in saying it's moving to every 4 years as opposed to every 2?
I don't know, but one just gone. So this must be the last one of the phase 2. It's busy, isn't it? I think the clubs have got to have a say in it at some stage, because it's World Cup, Euros, or it's World Cup, AFCON. And you're losing your top players, and that affects what happens in the league, doesn't it?
I suppose the downside of that is the exposure that Africa would get would vastly decrease, because we wouldn't be talking about it every other year. We'd be talking about it every 4 years, and that might make them fall behind again a little bit, I suppose.
We only spoke about the final because of the farcical opportunity that happened this time. I mean, they walked off. They have enough.
Yeah, a lot of people don't take much note of it now, Jack. I'm sorry to say. That's because the domestic season's going on for a start, so people are more interested in that, aren't they? Where did Kenya rank in the world?
Well, they didn't qualify for AFCON this time round.
Right.
Without speaking out of turn, I think there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of politics. Just like in any country's FA, they're no different to anywhere across the world, really. So,
obviously, you were at Coventry City. You said you were under Oggy, and then you came back and did a bit more. So what's it like then when you're at an academy? How's it all work? You've got different age groups, haven't you? You look after different ages. How do they progress, or do they progress, these players? How's it all work?
Where we're at now, it's a completely different model to when Oggy was in charge. You've now got Category 1, Category 2, Category 3 academies, and you generally stay in your lane. And then you may play 3 or 4 Cat 1s. So we went up to Liverpool, did very well at Liverpool, actually, the under-14s that day. But you are governed by, for example, to become a Category 1 academy, you've got to have so many grass pitches, an outdoor astro, an indoor astro, a gym, so many strength and conditioning, and you're ticking boxes in order to get into that category, which obviously comes with investment. And that's, I think, the gap between Cat 1 and Cat 2 is probably growing. And then what happens, the greedy Cat 1s, and I'd use our neighbours Aston Villa on this one. Aston Villa allow all the West Midlands clubs to develop from 9 to 14, and they just go and pick up the best ones. And when you go to a Villa Academy training ground, you don't refuse Villa, because it's incredible. It's like the greatest hotel you've ever been to, with pitches that have been cut with scissors. The Cat 1 academies, and Leicester, the Harry Maguire training ground, they're works of art, and these training grounds are amazing. And I think in terms of our academy, we were in League 2 not so long ago, and the first team had progressed League 2, League 1, Championship quite rapidly over a 5-year period. And for an academy to catch up, you're talking generational, maybe 2, 4, 6 years until they can catch up. So they're doing some great work there. They're developing some really good players, but it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig.
We practically had nothing in League 2, did we?
In terms of
an academy,
the focus was surviving as a club, wasn't it, at the time? Yeah. So then that's probably the rebirth of the academy. What year would that be? 2017, 18? 19?
Yeah, cause I can remember Mark Robbins saying that's what they had to do, was get young players in. And of course, we had in League 2, we did have some youngsters in our first team. They had to make the numbers up, didn't they? Basically, they did
exactly right. It was a false economy, wasn't it? But it was great that they got opportunity. And look at the players who've developed through it. Yeah. We've lost them. We had Stevenson, Shipley, and there was a few names that went on. Kian, who was the centre half?
Kian Harris.
Kian Harris was great as an under 16, under 18. So there has been players come through, but it's going to get harder and harder, because that championship, I know the championship at senior level is competitive. Well, it's even more competitive in this area. If you look, and I've done 4 years scouting for Wolves previously, and the best part of it, being in rugby, I had 18 professional clubs within 45-minute drive.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
You've got West Brom, Wolves, Birmingham, Warsaw, Villa, Coventry, Milton Keynes, Northampton, Burton Albion, Notts Forest, Notts County, Luton. Within 45 minutes, I think there's 18 clubs for me. So that's why it was good for me on a scouting point of view. I could get out to many clubs within the hour.
Do you think, because I think we talked about this earlier, at the age of 14, they can be basically picked away, can't they? Do you think they should raise that? They should raise that to maybe 16, because it's not really fair on these clubs, is it? But of course, that's how clubs do make money, don't they, to keep these academies going?
So the new category, it's called the EPPP. The EPPP system allows for compensation to be paid if a player left from one to another. Previously, it was a free market, and Coventry City might have developed a player for 5 years, and a big boy comes in and can take them without anything, without a bag of balls being given to you. So what the EPPP has done is created a system to follow. So there's a certain amount of money for an under 9 and an under 10. If you have them 2 years, that works out to be about roughly £8,000 or something like that. Then under 11s, under 12s, it increases. So if you've had a kid within your academy from under 9s to under 14s, your compensation could go into 6 figures. So there is a value to it, but then there's a morality to it as well, isn't there? That are we trading children now? And that doesn't sound great to me. But in the same breath, clubs still need to be awarded financially because they're losing an asset. But then other clubs develop 214 and make sure that they do let the lad go, because that money will fund the academy for the next 5 years, and there's jobs paid for and everyone's happy.
I mean, as a club, we are still doing that, aren't we? Because we have let a couple go in the last few years.
Yeah, we had Marlo Barrett went, who as a Wolves scout, I watched him from 11, exceptional player. I watched him 5 games in a row. I didn't know what foot he was. That was how good he was. You couldn't tell. He's gone to Man City. He's now in the England setup. He probably would have gone to Manchester and got into a private school and finished his education. I think he was a Kenilworth boy originally. And we've just had one Manny, Emmanuel, has gone to Arsenal as an under 14, 15. And the club will be compensated, and that will go towards running the academy for the next couple of years. So there's a benefit to it.
In fairness to Arsenal and Man City, they're 2 clubs who do actually put through youngsters. Both clubs are in their starting 11 at the minute, which is great to see, actually. At least they're not then being farmed out to somebody else on loan. I won't mention Chelsea, but that's one club who keep doing it, where they're collecting other people's players and just farm them out all around the world.
They stockpile them, don't they? They stockpile them, increasing value just from being a Chelsea player.
Yeah, it's true. Is there any questions in there for Dan at all? Because I know there's some tactics stuff and people wanting to know stuff. I know you got your views on the Middlesbrough game, which we'll come to.
Yeah, Rich Overson says, I remember Dan jumping on the bus at Dunchurch going to Notts County playoff semi-final. Great night. We all remember.
I will tell this story. It was fantastic. We're in my cousin Gary is driving the car, there's 4 of us, and we intended on driving to Notts County. Mark Sylvester, who runs the Rugby Supporters Club.
Oh, Mark, wow.
I heard about this fun bus going from Dunchurch, but there was no advert for it. There was nothing going on. And we got to the turning where we either go left through Wilmorton to get on the M1, or we go right to Dunchurch. And I've said, just go right. And the car full of people didn't know why. We go in the Dun car, we hang around. Then this bus arrives, which turns out to be a Rich Overson bus. I've never met Rich. He knew of my name. I knew of Rich. We'd never met. I've gone, Rich, could we jump on? Go and get yourself some beers, jump on. We had the greatest day at Notts County away. Probably one of my best away days. Probably my best memory of Coventry. Max Biami scored. I was folded up in half. So we went on Rich Overson's bus, but without turning right, we would never have got on the bus. And it was fantastic. It was the first time I met Rich, and he's a gentleman. He's a stalwart of Coventry City. He's done so much for the club that a lot of people don't understand how much he did for the club back in League 2 and League 1 under Mark Robbins. And he was almost like a secret chairman. Richard did an amazing job. And we might not be in the position where we are without Rich, if I'm honest.
Yeah, we've had Rich on here. I know him well as well, but we've had him on here to basically tell his story, because I think for far too long he had to stay quiet, and I think now he's able to come out and talk about it. And it's brilliant. People think he's a top guy. He's put a lot of work and effort.
Training ground upgrades and all that sort of stuff. just for being a fan. There was no benefit to Richard. It was purely for the love for Coventry City, and that's admirable.
Brilliant. Jack, some more?
Yeah, I've got two of almost the same question here, so I'll read them both out. It says, why are our set-piece throw-ins all of a sudden gone completely ineffective? And as a coach, I'd be interested to hear why set pieces haven't worked as well recently. So I know when we played Norwich on the telly the other day, it flashed up, we'd scored, I think, 21 goals from set pieces, and the next best was 9. But I looked back, and I don't think we've scored a set piece since Charlton at home at the back end of November. So that's
saying David got a penalty then. We haven't had a penalty since then either, have we, Jack?
Well, the penalty was open away day at Derby in August.
I would say that the long throw-in thing is about the man behind Vicky's head there. The last time we scored from the throw-in, Ellis Simms' movement and strength he used just to get his body in front of the person to get a header on, and we scored from, that isn't Haji Wright's game. That was really, for when you as a coach, you look into the micro details, and Ellis Simms' movement and strength he used just to manoeuvre himself, get the flick on, that was intelligent play. It doesn't look attractive, but it was intelligent. And I believe that's Ellis Simms all over. He's not attractive. And we were spoiled with Vic, weren't we? With Big Vic, we were spoiled. We knew he was a great player. He looked good. I truly believe with a run of games, Ellis Simms isn't pretty, but he's very effective. And I believe both centre-halves he will occupy 2. And I wouldn't mind seeing a Hadji and Simms together. And what's the problem in dropping it into them? I don't think we will, but I'd love to see a front 2, because that's a handful, because I didn't realise how big Haji Wright was either. He's a big boy.
Well, we're talking about the throw-ins when, Dion Dublin was at the club yesterday, wasn't he? We're saying he used to do the throw-in or the free kick where McAllister would put it into the near post and Dion was the flick-on man. And I don't understand why we don't do that. It just seems such an obvious thing to do at the minute. But
I think it's timing. You have to see it, and the trajectory. A throw is slightly different. The trajectory of throw is more of a punched into you. It's driven into you. So it's more neck height. It's here. It's in between. But I do think we would get more joy from the long throw if Ellis Simms was the receiver.
In the panel, we've got an expert on this, Vicky, haven't we? So.
So
what do you think from these throw-ins? Do you think Ellis at the front post, maybe flick-ons? What are your view on that?
Like what Dan just said, it's like that Stoke game, isn't it? That's exactly what he did. He flicked it on, and he does his overhead kick into the back of the net. There's some other games this season, and it is that presence, isn't it? Like somebody posted on Facebook after Eccles got that goal against QPR about why was that not Simms on the end of it? But if you watch it, Simms is there occupying their defender, giving Eccles a free run in. So it's that job he does that just takes defenders out of the game, occupies them, and I think. Well, I'll just agree with everything Dan said. Really, because I think that's what Simms is all about, just occupying. And I think the trouble is, it's things that fans don't necessarily think is exciting, but it's effective. And the trouble is, if you're doing a long throw-in and you haven't got the right players on the pitch, if you haven't got Bobby Thomas or Simms on the pitch, there's little point, because not many other players are going to make the most of that. So you're just wasting the opportunity. There's only any point Milan doing a long throw if he can throw it to Simms or Bobby Thomas, in my opinion, personally.
Okay.
And also, Dan, with a free kick or a corner, there's surely more control if you're kicking it in as opposed to a throw, which could go. It can go anywhere, can't it? Really, sometimes,
especially when you've got the quality of Matt Grimes' delivery, and Torp delivers a great corner. Grimes delivers a great corner, but we were never going to score a corner on Saturday, were we? We've taken the 2 biggest boys out the fit. You're not going to. I do understand. I kind of think I understand why he did. I think he wanted to go pure possession base against Oxford, knowing that Oxford were going to go 11 men behind the ball, and that's why he played 2 better passers in Lats and Wolf. I thought Wolf actually passed the ball very well, and maybe should deserve to keep his place.
That's a debate, isn't it? Definitely. More questions for Dan, Jack? Is there?
Yes, there is. We've got a Middlesbrough fan in the comments, and he's taking over, but I can't find these questions now. Here's a question. I don't know if you watched the QPR game, Dan. They left 3 men up for every corner. So the question is, why on corners do we put everyone back? Everyone is in our box, with the exception of Tats, who maybe is just outside the box in that, the penalty ring thing. I don't know what it's called. Why don't we leave anyone up?
Penalty ring thing.
Well, the little semicircle. Sorry.
For me, a defending team always has to have one more. So if we need a big man to come back and defend, then let that be the 9, be that Sims or Wright. And I personally would leave both wingers, because that means they have to leave 3. They can't. They won't. No one would be brave enough to go 2v2. So I would leave 2 wide and occupy 3. That's just personal to me. But I think Frank's tactics are kind of like, do you remember Spurs back in the day with Klinsmann, Dimitrescu and Pescu? They would concede 3 but score 4. And I kind of don't know if that's Frank's mentality, because with 10 points clear before Christmas, I'll be happy to draw every game 0-0 and be boring as hell, because we're guaranteeing ourselves promotion. But I would love him just to sit and explain why we're having these. Them fullbacks are so high and wide, and we don't play 2 sitters. We play a holding midfielder in Grimes. Then we play an active number 8 in Eccles. Yeah. Eccles doesn't sit with him. And if you imagine you have a number 9 and you want that number 9 to press, and you ask him to press both fullbacks, it's impossible. I feel we're asking Grimes to cover both fullbacks, which is hard graft. And I think it's too much for one man. This Saturday, Middlesbrough play this 4-2-3-1 system, which transitions into a 4-3-3. So I do think it could be man for man. I think we need to stop Hayden Hackney playing, who's exceptional. He is exceptional. The holding midfielder for Middlesbrough. He passes the ball well. He keeps the ball well. He covers every blade of grass. Exceptional player. I maybe would sacrifice a number 10 and maybe play 2 number 8s and make Eccles or Frank Eccles really. I'd sit Eccles on there as almost as a 10, but a defensive 10 going man for man on Hayden. The other matchup for me, which is going to decide the game, is Morgan Whittaker on the right, v. J. De Silva. If we're allowing J. De Silva to go and be 10, 15 yards too high, that space is where Morgan Whittaker wants to play, and we cannot leave that space.
Yeah, that's too risky, isn't it? The Eccles thing is interesting, because he did that with Hamer, didn't he? First time round, and he was man of the match, wasn't he? Eccles, absolutely. And in the end, he sort of dominated that day.
Every time I hear Hamer, every time I hear that name, Hamer.
I know.
He's my favourite Coventry player in recent history. I love it. I love Hamer. And he loved us. That was the thing. He loved Coventry. He was at Wembley when I walked out for Man United game. Yeah, it was Man United semi-final. He walked out with us. He went to the game and watched it.
Well, it is baffling, because he wanted so much money, and the rumours are that they've given it to players who came into the club, but we didn't give it to the player who was already here, which is a bizarre. But then we got money for him, which we needed to buy more players, because we didn't have enough players. So it's a juggling act, isn't it? What do you do as an owner?
The term I use is the homeless man's blanket. He pulls it to cover his shoulders, his feet are showing. He pulls it to cover his legs, his shoulders are showing. You can't win.
You have to make a decision at some point, and Gyökeres and Hamer were the 2 players that were going to get sacrificed, weren't they, to get money in? Because Doug's not going to spend his own money.
I thought he was better than Sheffield United. I thought he was going to go to a better Premier League team, Hamer. I really did.
Well, that's what we all thought. I think that's in some ways, as fans, I think we're probably disappointed that he didn't, because they were always at a risk of coming back down again. Is there any more questions for Dan?
Yeah, we're going away from Middlesbrough for a second. On the point about proximity to all these other clubs, do you think that greatly hampers our youth recruitment? Obviously, you've mentioned the Tier 1 academies of Villa and Leicester. They're both, 20 minutes away from us? Is that a major hindrance?
I can understand the logic behind one. For example, look at David Beckham was born in South London, but he was always at Manchester United. So I don't know how he did that. I think it was helicopter. If I'm honest, I think it was helicopter, and that sounds ridiculous. It protects teams, but because we're in the most convoluted, look at Manchester. They have United, City, Stockport, Rochdale, all them. The West Midlands is full of professional football clubs. include Burton Albion in it, and then if you want to stretch into the east, so it works for academies in general, but that hour for Cov it's difficult. After under 14s, it increases to an hour and a half. But yeah, it's just that we are in the most populated area of the country of professional football clubs, which makes it very, very difficult. It makes it very challenging to recruit. And yeah, so I agree with the rule, because if it was a free for all, then Villa would just go and get them all.
You got the same problem in the northwest, haven't you? Because you got Everton, Man United, Man City, and Liverpool. Then you've got a lot of Lancashire clubs all up the coast. And I remember in the 60s there used to be a magazine called the Football League Review, which used to get in all a lot of the programs. You wouldn't be surprised, I've got a massive collection of these things. And there was a balance, scales, and it had like the 4 big clubs and the weight of all the fans and all the money, and then all the clubs around them were up here somewhere because they got nothing. And I suppose that catchment area, they've got it all as well, haven't they? So yeah, they need to protect these clubs and give them a chance, basically, don't they?
So I do understand the hour. It makes it fair.
Yeah, but it's the youth academy at Villa. Is that Bodymore Heath as well? Is it?
Yeah. Honestly, unbelievable.
Well, I worked on that.
Did you? Well, you will know. You would believe the place.
Yeah, because they moved it. HS2 paid for it all because it had to move it. Because they moved it.
HS2, what's that? What's HS2, Claudia? I thought they'd give up on it, hadn't they?
Well, a lot of people made some money out of it. They had to move about half a mile down the road to the new facilities. And there's a photo of me with my Cov City hat on outside and SOTV written on a piece of paper outside the ground.
You should have done what the baseball stadium's done and buried a shirt under the foundations of it.
And and you're right about the pitch. We were up on their balcony bit, and I was looking over, watching them train, thinking, look at this. Because they've replicated Villa Park, basically, which is what we've tried to do with Brighton, haven't we? The same size, everything the same. And it is impressive. But
they're £1 million a pop. Them Deso pitches are £1 million a pop.
Yeah, all paid for by HS2. There you go. Brilliant, isn't it? Any more there, Jack, for Dan?
There aren't any specifically for Dan that I can
comments
see.
In general.
Comments in general. I'll only read one of this Boro fans comment. Thank you very much for watching. I saw a comment. He said he likes to watch opposing fans' podcasts. He's found ours. So thank you very much for tuning in. We are live on Sunday as well if you want to watch Sunday at 7:30. Thank you. People, you will lose in midfield. Don't expect anything different. You need to build your tactics Monday around trying not to play through it. Well, Dan's given us some insight and pack out the midfield, stop their midfield playing, and then let the wingers do the rest.
Well, that's what we do, isn't it? That's what we were. Against Oxford, I could have closed my eyes and told you where the ball was. It goes Wolf to Milan into Grimes into Tats. We were so predictable last Saturday. I was disappointed. We had 70% possession. The other thing, with Grimes being left-footed, he's more comfortable going that way.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to the left. We didn't really go out to the left. So we need to become a little bit more predictable. I don't mind if it's a little bit more direct. I don't mind playing off second balls, and that would be Sims ahead of Wright. EMC's probably got to play, hasn't he?
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully.
We didn't have anyone who had that. SA tried the little bits of spark and magic, but we didn't have anyone really with any craft on the weekend. There was no craft or creativeness to our play, and EMC gives us that. I'm quite looking forward to Monday because this is a good side who want to keep possession. I don't think they're going to change their tactic in regard to possession-based football. And when was the last time we played a team who were possession-based? And I don't know how much attention Frank pays to the opposition, because Oxford, we knew they were going to go 11 men behind the ball, but it was as if we didn't really care. We're going to play our way. This is how we play. But we've got to play against the weaknesses of an opposition. And all we did was give it to we whipped these lofty balls into the box, and the two big lofty centre backs It was heading practice for them. They were loving it. They ate every ball up, bang, get rid. But they should have gone down to that. The other centre half should have got sent off when he took a tackle as right with his second yellow. So I'm looking forward to Monday. It's going to be a bit of a tactical game, and I'm interested to see how Frank plays it.
So Vicky,
I'd be quite happy to go a bit longer.
Vicky, going on what Dan says, then, do you think Frank's got a bit of blind faith then in our tactics, where he just thinks it's going to work? If that's the case,
I think there's an argument that that's the case. Yes, I think he believes in a certain way, and we've already spoken in the past, haven't we, about the faith with this sort of favourite players, and I think it probably is the same with the system generally. And I guess that's probably one of the frustrations that some of us have, that sometimes you think it needs to be different, and this isn't working. And that's just a bit of a frustration, but I guess it's worked predominantly, hasn't it? If we're at the top end of the table, so fundamentally, I suppose you could argue that he's right to stick with it by his convictions, because overall we're second in the league and just behind Middlesbrough, and a good chance of promotion. So I don't know.
It's no surprise to me. It's no surprise to me that Stoke are struggling, because I honestly, and I've said this out loud to a number of people, Adi Vivic is a world-class coach, and I mean it. And it's no surprise that Stoke are struggling without the partnership, the duo, and it's no surprise that Middlesbrough are flying. A lot of this doing is Adi Vivic is doing again. The guy is a genius, and I'd love him. And I don't think he does. I don't think he wants to, but I'd love him to become a manager, because he's so underrated, not spoken of. The guy is world class, and I mean it. The top accolades. He could go into, I believe, any club in the Premier League and hold his own as a coach.
It's basically the Peter when Mark Robbins was here. It's like the Peter Taylor to Brian Clough. He was the guy who would say to Brian. Brian was obviously the motivator, but Peter Taylor was always renowned for being the guy who actually understood the game a bit better than Brian, bizarrely. I mean, Brian Clough was a fantastic forward in his day and everything, and an orator, wasn't he, basically, and got the best out of players. But Taylor was a tactician. He was, and when he left Forest and left Cloughie, that's when
he didn't go to Leeds with him. Did Peter Taylor go to Leeds with him or not?
No, he didn't. He stayed in Brighton. He stayed
at United. Yeah,
and that's where it failed. Chat then. They were talking about the midfield, but we didn't have any trouble with their midfield at I said Ayresome Park then.
Showing your age.
Showing my age, whatever it's called now.
The Riverside, is it not?
Is it still the Riverside? We didn't have too much trouble at the Riverside, did we? Really?
I think that's partly because, I mean, the first goal we scored was just a counter attack, wasn't it? We scored from, I think was it their corner or their sustained pressure, and we just went bomb, off we went. That was Torp in his element, without his injuries and illnesses and whatever. He's failed to hit form. And Ellis Sims, with no disrespect to him, people have been saying it for a couple of years now. If you don't give Sims a decision, he'll score. And Sims looked up and went, "There's nothing to do here but shoot." And he shot. It was unreal.
Yeah, it was a great goal.
I do rate Sims, and I mean no disrespect to him, but when you give a old-fashioned number 9 like Ellis the chance to put the ball in the back of the net and not have to think about, do I pass it, do I shoot, do I hit it hard, do I hit it soft, do I place it? Just hit it, and he knows where the net is. And then obviously the Grimes worldie for Kitchen's header from following a corner from a set piece that we were quite good at a while back. And then, do you know what? The rest of it's kind of a blur. Those last 2 goals are just an absolute blur. I was running around the living room, I think, doing cartwheels. Never done cartwheels in my life. But, I don't remember their midfield being an enormous problem. Partly because our midfield was in good form, and we weren't dominating the game. Maybe being away from home that day was better, because Middlesbrough, again, I remember them having more possession, but don't remember them like absolutely dominating the midfield. And maybe my dad said this the other day, why don't we just give Middlesbrough the ball?
Yeah.
On Monday. 100%. We're at home. They'll expect us to try and play passing and them counter us. Why don't we say, all right, you play, and then we'll hit
the break. Hit them on the break. I'm with you. Your dad's right, Jack.
Oh, your dad's right. You didn't hear that very often.
I think he's watching. So, Dan, if you're watching, there you go.
You're right. Do some more comments. We'll get through whatever you can. And then
Well, I've got a quick question for Dan first. Obviously, I know everyone in the comments is a football expert, but you maybe a little bit more. What do you think about the 4 new signings that we've had? Are they good enough? Have we seen enough? Obviously, we've only seen 2 of them play for us, but are they the quality that this squad needs to get us over the line?
I thought as a window, I would have liked to have got a couple of early 20s, not as young as they are, who want to be in the Premier League and want game experience, and we have an option to buy. And that's what I thought we would do. I do think Esse's a good player, but I think he needs to have a lot of running and legs around him to allow him to express himself. Quite confused by the Spurs loanee. He didn't pull up any trees at Portsmouth. I didn't think we needed an extra winger. I think what made the transfer window half decent was I'm excited about Frank. I've never seen him kick a ball. I didn't know who he is, but I just look at him and I'm thinking, yes, I think he calls himself Frank the Tank as well. I love that. I think he's going to be an immediate fan's favourite after his first tackle where he gets stuck in. I think the fans are going to love him, even though I've never seen him play. I like the signing. I think it's something we needed. I maybe thought we might need left back cover rather than a 16th winger.
Fair enough. My dad says, I know my stuff. There he is.
There he is.
And the Boro fan says Hackney won man of the match that day. Now, Middlesbrough lost. Right, just to clarify, was that the official man of the match of the match, or was that Middlesbrough's man of the match?
I remember after the game, Frank walked up to Hayden and put his arm around him, and you could tell he was praising him. Then I looked at his stats and his heat map. It was an incredible performance, and that's the one we've got to stop playing. So it's about the centre forward cutting off. So it's got to be the centre forward needs to then cut the pathway off, and I would play 2 number 8s and not a number 10, because if that Middlesbrough fan is right, we're not going to get through the middle. Well, let's have 2 solid ones, and Eccles is full of legs. Let's put Eccles man for man on the 6, and let's play wide and play around and see if we can get the ball in the box. Eccles has been our best player in the last 4 weeks. I don't think he's had a bad game in the last 4. In our bad run of form, he's been our best player.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, which is interesting you say that because obviously he's not everyone's favourite, and the fact he's come to the forefront says a lot about some of the players who we regard as better players. So it does show that.
A lot about Eccles. That kid has got a tremendous attitude. He loves the club. He's come through the system. And you know what? If he left, he would find another top half championship club to play for. And I'm sure there's scouts every week watching him. He's a good player, good, solid, reliable player, puts a good ball in as well. He's not afraid to deliver a cross when other people are.
Yeah, well, I think this. What I was saying is this is the problem with the other midfielders. They've not stepped up to the level they should be at, which is I think it's showing Eccles to be a decent player. Because he's basically having to step up because it feels like nobody else is doing it at the minute. And you say about I think it was Jack who pointed out, or Vicky, it may have been even Miles pointed at the weekend saying that the 3 best balls that came into the box.
Oh, that was me. The corners, the crosses. Yeah, about the crosses into the 3 best crosses were all from him.
Yeah, so he scored a great goal.
The other ones were very predictable. Loopy. The other one was so predictable on Saturday, and then them 2 centre halves just ate it up.
And I got some stick 6 weeks back maybe for saying that Eccles is becoming a Lampard-style player. He's arriving late in the box. He's putting balls in the box. He's in and around that. He's learning from the best. You can't learn from anyone better for the position he's playing in. And I got some stick for that the other week. But
on that note, Frank got a tune out of Radoni early doors. Why do we think Radoni's dropped off? Is it because he's believing in too much hype in himself? Too focused on, I don't know, as a move, I don't know, something's turned his head. He's just not quite there, is he?
Well, here's a question for you, Dan, then. Being a coach, the psychological part of being a footballer, the mindset, when you get an injury, It can play in your mind, can't it? Do you think there's a bit of that involved?
I do. You know what? I had a rant on the Sky Blues forum about 2 months ago. You know these Saki interviews that we're doing?
Yeah.
These sarcastic interviews when we were 10 points clear. It's just taking the focus away from the game. Forget your Saki interviews. Forget what shoes you're wearing and what jacket and what fit you've got on when you arrive at the training ground. Just win the flipping game. Get your heads down. Otherwise, honestly, truly, I'm a little bit. Excuse me, that was a mosquito.
Oh, no.
That was good, wasn't it? I got him as well. I'm a little bit less. Jim's been through more pain than me. I truly believe if we don't get promoted, I'm not saying win the league. If we don't get promoted, this is an embarrassing calamity that will go down in Championship history. I truly believe that. So if we come second and go up, fine. I don't see us dominating the playoffs with form that people are coming in late. We have to go up, otherwise it's embarrassing, and it takes the shine off Leicester's embarrassment. I tuned in on Wednesday morning, looked at the result. They were 3-0 up when I went to sleep, and to see them lose 4-3 was just fantastic. But I've had so much stick off Leicester fans from us losing this gap. But we have to go up. Otherwise, for me, it's the most embarrassing thing in Championship history. I'm truly mean that.
More comments, Jack?
Yes, David says Sakamoto jumps higher than most and wins a lot of headers, but ironically, he's not the one in the box for corners. He's the one that's just outside the box.
Delivering them.
There was. Yeah, I won't read that one. There was a lot of to and fro in between the Middlesbrough fans and our fans. So good on you, lads, for sticking up with us. We're a wounded animal at the moment, so anything could happen on the night. I'm sure your new manager wouldn't be that naive to think you just have to turn up and win. Well, apparently, AD Vivash is the mastermind.
Oh, he is.
Many have tried this season. Enjoy the lights and fireworks. That about it. Three easy points. Ole, I think that is.
This is all Boro fans.
No, that's a Cop fan. That's a Cop fan.
What was that question about the 4-2-3-1?
What's Dan's view of the 4-2-3-1 and the possession-based mindset from Mark Rainbow?
Is this about Coventry or Boro?
It's a Cop fan, so...
I truly believe we don't play 4-2-3-1. And I phoned up with Oggy the other week, and Oggy goes, "Oh no, we have someone sitting alongside." No one sits alongside Matt Grimes. Matt Grimes is a lone wolf in there doing all the doggies and covering fullbacks, which allows the number 8 to go. But I potentially would play 2 sitters, but is that... Eccles probably isn't a sitter anymore. Torp most definitely isn't. So it's probably only Frank the Tank, right? The legend Frank the Tank.
The legend to be. So ideally, if you were... So, okay, then, if you were picking the team on Monday, you'd have to name players as such, but... you could name players. Who would you go for then, if they're all fit?
I would certainly speak to both fullbacks and have them dropping in 10 yards deeper and be connected to the centre halves.
Right.
And if we do that for an hour and stay nil, keep a clean sheet for the hour. And then, like a Sam Allardyce thing, if you ever watch a Sam Allardyce team, he brought everyone together, he locked everyone in, and then the last 25 minutes, he give it a good go. Well, we've got a bench now full of pace, full of creativity. Well, let's go 0-0 for an hour, and the last half an hour, 25 minutes, that's when we have a go at it. There's no harm in that. It doesn't have to be pure football for 90 minutes. Lock up your daughters, let's stay tight, keep it all in, keep your fullbacks nice and compact, sit another sitter with Grimes for 65 minutes, and then let the boys go. For the
So who would your sitter be with Grimes at the minute?
It's Eccles or Frank the Tank.
Yeah, because Frank would cover a lot of ground, and it looks like he's got an engine on him for a start, which is...
So we're told, aren't we?
So we're told, I know. I've seen the videos, mind you. Bakayoko.
I'm excited, man. When you listen to the rumbles from Brentford fans on their fan, they were gutted he'd gone, even though he wasn't really a starter for them. And so when the opposition fans are upset that he's gone, you know there's something. In the same breath, the boys from Spurs, you read the Portsmouth fanzines and all that sort of stuff, they weren't bothered. He'd done nothing for them. It's not our responsibility to develop a 19-year-old from Spurs. It's our responsibility to buy players to get us promoted.
Yeah, it's a good point, that is. But so what's your views on Esse then? Because some of us,
because he was getting minutes, even if it was 20 minutes here or there. He's played Championship football with Millwall. He's an experienced Championship player, really, isn't he? When you look at it, I wouldn't guess. Well, Jack, you'll probably have to get this up straight away. I would hazard a guess he's played 60 games in the Championship already.
So what would you say to him then? Because obviously his style of play, it is a bit flamboyant, isn't it? We all love to see the skills, but surely there's a time and a place. Would you be telling him
in the right area, in the final? Once he enters that final third, let him be free. So it's almost up to us to get. You're going to say 63.
61.
Is it? There you go.
That's why I'm laughing. 61 in the Championship and then 5 in Cup.
But that's an experienced player, isn't it? But for him to be at his creative best, we just say, right, we'll do all the work behind you. We stay compact and let him express himself in the final third.
I suppose we need to line up in a way that he doesn't have to come back. So
I can't see him playing this week. I think we'll play that 3 proper central midfielders with Tats and EMC. I can't see Radoni starting. I don't think we play with a 10 this week.
Yeah, and I suppose damage limitation isn't too bad at this stage where we've been struggling. If we get a point out of Monday, that's not a disaster, is it? We can't. The one thing we can't do is lose. Really.
Yeah, agreed with that. But for belief and confidence to go and beat them and then be 2 points clear again, that has to be what we want.
Oh, definitely.
I'm not taking a draw this week. Oxford game, when you look at that, it's so frustrating.
But we've had a few of those in the last few weeks. We know we should be 6 points better off. We should have defended like Oxford did against QPR and Norwich. We'd have come away with 6 points. And I think this is where you can see it in Frank's interviews, the anger, I think, more than frustration, that the players have let him down in certain areas. That's at the end of the game.
Have they, though? Are them players performing to everything that Frank has said? Or is it a player issue and a tactic? I personally think it's a tactical issue. And that we're so high and wide and exposed, you could close your eyes and know if Oxford have a chance how it would happen, and it will happen by a quick break in between centre half and fullback. Usually Jay De Silva, which is no complaint to Jay De Silva. I think he's been the most improved player of the season, and he's actually impressed me. But just do him a favour and allow him just to drop in 10 more yards so he isn't getting exposed. Every team we play against will look at Jay De Silva as a weakness, and they will plan that diagonal crossfield ball over him. And to be honest, he hasn't been exposed by that a lot. But when that gap is so big between left back and left side centre half, it's clear we always know how they're going to score and what's going to happen.
So what would you do then as a coach if you've given instructions to a player, that's how I want you to play, and then he decides, like Jay decides on Monday, I've got Whittaker there and I'm thinking, I ain't doing this, I'm going to get exposed, and he doesn't get forward enough, is he risked at getting pulled then? Is Frank going to go, he's not doing what I've told him to do, he's coming off?
The only thing I'd say is he's fortunate in the sense that Jake Bidwell, as much as I love Jake Bidwell, I think his performances when he's played this year has proved that I think his time at this level is probably done. Yeah. And I'm not talking, and that's brutal, but he's been a brilliant player and he's won games from defending alone. Yeah. And you almost want Jay De Silva to have that Jake Bidwell spirit this week and think, right, first and foremost, I'm not going to get beat one-on-one. I'm going to win my physical battle and get stuck in. Forget about ball at your feet. It's about dominating Morgan Whittaker. Whether Jay has that in him or is allowed to be that tight and work with. Maybe that's why you play Kitchen on the left in order to provide that bit of physicality. Did you drop Bobby Thomas? Sorry, Vicky.
I was going to say Leicester away earlier in the season. That I know De Silva was turned inside out a bit by Fatawu, but he did play a more defensive position. We were almost a flat back four that game rather than 2 centre halves and 2 wing backs. We were a flat back four. Yes, Fatawu gave De Silva a hard time, and I think De Silva got pulled after being booked from fouling for Taiwo in the second half, but he gave it everything, Jay, that day, and you can't ask for more from that. And I agree with him being pulled in the moment because he had to be, after being on a booking and losing his man every single time, or his man beating him, sorry. It was the right thing. But we should do that for Morgan Whittaker today, Monday, absolutely, like you say.
Flat back four. And
back four.
Man mark him.
Yeah, man mark him. And if you get booked, we'll pull you in the 60th minute, but you've done your job for the hour. Whereas, if, like you say, if it gets exposed, we're just going to get the same old annoyance and grumbles and boos that we get at the CBS recently, and that's not what we want.
We should have got a left back in the window, shouldn't we? We should have got left back cover, not to replace Jay Silva, but for incidents like the last half hour of games if he is on a booking, which is likely against Morgan Whittaker because he's going to get took on. We should have gone and found a left back.
But Vicky, we have gone on record minutes of not conceding, haven't we, as well this season? So they can do it, can't they?
Yeah.
I can't remember how we did it. How did that happen? The goalkeeper's outstanding, by the way. We haven't even spoke about him. Without him, we would be...
Dan, Vicky's going to tell us how we did it. How did we do it, Vicky?
I think, actually, the goalkeeper's a good shout, isn't it? That made a big difference. I just, for me, it seems to have dropped off since Grimes has been knackered. Like, I think that's made a massive difference. Actually, I think that's probably one of the key issues. He was asked to do so much early on in the season, and that was working, and we were keeping clean sheets. But he's like, I haven't got the energy anymore. So now that's not working. So hopefully that's why Frank the Tank's going to come in and just help us finish that job off. Yeah,
because of course at Swansea, when he was at Swansea, they were possession based, weren't they? They pass for passing's sake at Swansea. It's a different kind of formation to what we do and how we play.
Yeah.
So he didn't probably have to cover so much ground, did he? Any more comments, Jack?
Well, I was just going to say on the, I'll get to the comments. That defensive run was Norwich at home, where we were attacking them for 90 minutes and they somehow kept us out. Leicester away, where we had the flat back four. Birmingham at home, they went down to 10 men and we beat them 3-0. Millwall away is probably the biggest achievement in that run, 4-0. I think we blew them away and they'd given up by half time probably. Sheffield Wednesday away, they were never going to score. Blackburn at home, we'll look at where Blackburn are. We were at home, you understand it. And Portsmouth away is where the run came to an end, and that was in the 93rd minute. And Portsmouth are quite good at home, but they're in the bottom few for a reason. You know, they're not brilliant in this division. So that's the reason why it was so good, was because we played average teams. We were in good form, they weren't. So it just worked out conveniently, I think.
So you're saying it's rubbish then?
No, we've achieved it, but we were blowing teams away more than we had to defend. That was the point. We were having loads of issues with Boro's midfield second half, says Rob, at the Riverside. Second ball runners. Frank went to a back three at one point, then went to a back four again. Yes, I do remember that. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I think the tactical changes in the game got us over the line there. So there you go.
We threw him, didn't we? Because he changed it and we scored 2 goals and then he went back again. They didn't... that's the first time he made substitutions to change a formation so quickly. That was,
strange. Our problem is the strikers have stopped scoring, says Frank Wood. Well, had you still had 2 in his last 3? It's not bad. Sims has scored 3 in 4 starts this year.
Everyone's stopped scoring is the problem. The midfielders stopped scoring.
The winger, I think he's on about Markello, is one for the future. He's been training with the first team. Watch the AFCON highlights for Nigeria. Frank lit it up. But like Dan says, you can watch 90-second highlights and it looks amazing, but you watch a 90-minute highlight, could be different. That's not to downplay him. I think he looks the business. So, yeah. Proves game at Boro. We pressed, put their back 4 under pressure and scored for fun. High press out of possession. We are back on it. Well, there you go. Chris Raffle says, I watched him in the Premier League for Brentford. Frank the Tank is an awesome player, says Mark. There you go. Frank says, I don't know anyone that watched AFCON other than the highlights the following morning after the final.
He just gives that a vibe. He just gives that a vibe of being someone that's going to really make a difference in the midfield. I'm with Dan. I haven't seen a lot of him play, but I just feel like he's going to. I mean, it's a lot of pressure on one man, isn't it? But I just feel like he's going to be awesome, rescue our season, and become a fan's favourite by the summer. And I've got very little to base that on because I've only seen like highlights of him, but he's just giving me that that vibe entirely. So I'm excited to see him play.
It's amazing. I don't know, Dan, you found this with, you can bring a player in that totally lifts the whole team just by his presence. It doesn't have to be a fantastic player. It's just something about him. Some players got a bit of an aura around them, and it can lift the whole team. When I used to play local football, this is only for Bub and all, by the way. We had a lad play for us, midfielder, and he was only 16, and he came in and he tackled like a demon. He ended up at Leamington FC. And it was brilliant. But all of a sudden, the whole team started playing again. And this lad was 16. And surely you must have seen that, Dan, in your career with somebody coming into a squad.
The best thing as a coach is when you watch like the first half and you recognise something wrong, and you then bring a sub on. And if that sub makes an impact, that's like a manager scoring a goal. That not like trying to claim that I won the game as a manager, but that fine. When you make a substitution and the tactical substitution works, there's nothing better.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to academies, what's it cost to actually run an academy? Say at Coventry, can you put? Do you have any idea a year what they need to fund it and how they fund it?
I think there's a figure of there's funding available. I think I would say Coventry would be 3/4 of 750 grand plus.
Right.
I'd say, at a guess. But I would think the agreement with the Alan Higgs Centre, Coventry have managed, the management there and Dan Bolus and the guys have utilised that facility very, very well, because it's a public facility, but they've managed to make it, in their hours that they have it, look like an academy and managed to get Cat 2 accreditation. So you've got to bow your hat to them that they've managed to make that place look. And the inside is nice. They've done bits and bobs to change. It's a lovely training ground and it does look like their own. But we would wait until the public came off one pitch and then our guys would go on. But from the outside in and how it looks, they've done really well on an operational point of view to make it function.
So it really needs to be up at
the gas pitches are really good.
But it needs to be up at Brighton then, doesn't it? Or in the same place? Would that be the ideal world?
I think the first team would say no. I think the first team like being that close, tight-knit group of 25 players in their training ground. You know what it's like trying to get land now.
Yeah.
How do you get land to build a training ground? You know what I think they should do?
Get rid of car park C.
Exactly.
No, I park there. No.
Honestly, they should build an Astro with a mini brick clubhouse type thing attached to it, and then that becomes a second Astro for the academy to use. And then on a match day, it becomes a kids' village where they can go and get involved in all games and football, and then Boosty and his boys can get involved and do tournaments before the game. Stoke do something very similar. Where Stoke Stadium is, just up the road there, they've got the Astro. I did a tour with a load of American kids, and they were coached by academy coaches at Stoke, and then went to the game afterwards. Car park C, it's not even going to take the whole car park. You think the size of a pitch in a bubble, and then a 2-story.
Because now you've said that, when I used to play hockey for Warwick, we played against Wolverhampton opposite a training facility, Wolverhampton training facilities.
They're all together. But what Wolves have got is there's a school, and then there's an academy block with the academy pitches. Then you go further down on the same site, and then there's first team block. So you won't have first team crossing over. They have their own block. Liverpool's new training ground is incredible.
I remember playing there and thinking, oh, it's the Wolverhampton, some sort of academy thing. It looked like a big, massive aerodrome place.
These bubbles are brilliant. They're really clever.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be that expensive to do, because the land's flat. It's already flat. There's already drainage there, and it won't take up the whole car park either. So you still got to park your cars and make some money from parking anyway.
That's interesting. More comments, please.
Do we own that land?
Yeah.
We do.
They got permission to build a hotel on it if they wanted to.
And by the way, the sliding doors moment has to be obtained in the stadium. I know it's pretty fresh. It has to be. I think this is setting us up for the future. We're solid.
Yeah, I must admit, having the ground, you kind of forget about it now, but it is a great feeling knowing you own the stadium again as a club. It's a
Makes us an asset
fantastic
when
thing.
Bill wants to
It
sell
makes
us,
a difference. And yeah, definitely when you're spending money there, at least it feels like it's going to the club.
King Carlos says Eccles has improved defensively. I have to admit I wasn't a fan of him at first, but fair play. Eccles shoots from outside the box as well. Lots of positivity for Josh here. Eccles, good impact. Eccles has definitely improved. Dan, why don't you give Frank Lampard some tips?
No, listen, he's a highly qualified man, and he'll know more about football in his left hand than I know in my whole body.
There you go.
Wow.
He was. Gavin Strachan used to say that Frank Lampard was the hardest working footballer out there. He didn't stop educating. He's the hardest because if you look at his body type, he's not an Olympic athlete like they need to be now in the Premier League. He worked for everything he got, and if you imagine like distance travel, where he started to where he got to, incredible what he achieved as a player. Incredible. He's just a top scorer out of all them players. Drogba, boys, he is their overall top scorer from midfield. He's incredible.
The Middlesbrough manager was saying that Frank Lampard's his hero. Yeah, his footballing hero is quite interesting.
You have one more question there, Jack?
Well, I've got stuff in. Eccles is a really good player who's improved under Frank and can now do everything, including score a goal. Well, we've seen him score from inside the box, outside the box, and with his head. So vastly improved. And there's a couple of years ago,
he'll be on the bench on Saturday. He'll be on the bench on Monday night now. You watch.
There's a couple of years ago, if Eccles got the ball in around the box, I'd be shouting, "Don't shoot!" because his shot was poor. I don't know what he's done. He's unbelievable now. The goal at Birmingham says it all. Outside the box, just curling it inside the post.
I think physically, if you look at him as a physical body, his chest is bigger and the glutes are bigger. He's a more rounded, he's done a lot of gym work, I'd say. How old is he? 23, 24?
I think he's just younger than me, maybe. So 24, 25, probably.
You can tell physically he's really done the work. And the bigger the glute, the more powerful you are, especially with shooting. That's why Mickey Quinn was so good.
The trouble is there's way too many Mystic Megs out there, says King Carlos. I just hope the team actually turn up, not like the Ipswich game. Rob reckons we'll go 3-4-2-1 this week. Deals with their packed midfield, and the extra man at the back deals with their second ball runners. Yeah.
Who's the four, though? And is that four a flat four in midfield? Does that mean you're dropping both full-backs?
No, they're the full-backs.
Are you asking Tats to do a wing-back's job? It's a difficult one.
I think that's 3 centre-halves, 2 full-backs or wing-backs, Grimes, Frank. The 2 attacking could be Josh and SA, and then either striker.
And then it's either Sims or right up front. I'd go Sims this week.
There you go. Martin Higgins says, is it true Sakamoto is unhappy with recent events, the recruitment of more wingers, which he might take a personal affront to, especially after his consistent top-grade performances for the club? I've not heard anything about that.
Well, if it has, it's had a good effect. I think he's been playing really well the last couple of games.
He's the most disciplined player we've got.
Yeah.
Now that comes with culture. Get me another Japanese international because I think he'd be a joy to work with.
Other than when he ran 5 yards to punch a Norwich player in the face.
No, he didn't.
Is he back this week? Is Asante back this week?
No, he's back from baggies.
And the funny thing, over in Kenya, habari means like hello, good morning. Asante is thank you. So I never forget the word thank you. So I always just think of Asante.
Brandon Thomas, thank you.
Yes. Didn't thank him the other week though.
We don't need a left back. We have KKH. Give him the run he wants.
He's a right back, isn't he?
Yeah, but he won player of the season at Preston last year. Played most of his games at left back.
On the wing.
The left wing back.
Yeah.
But maybe he can do the job there.
But
there's an option.
I don't think De Silva deserves to be dropped. We were just analysing the positions that Frank wants the fullbacks to play. He's the most improved player in the squad, without a doubt, and I'm really pleased for him. But you've got to help him out and allow him just to sit that little, like we say, 60 minutes, nice and tight, and then go for it the last half hour.
Dan has been spot on, says Roop Singh. Thanks for the great views. Need Dan in the room. PUSB, fight.
Thanks, Roop.
SWW says, we love Vicky. And King Carlos says, will we get a pen? Never know. Michael Terry says, we need Tommy Hutchinson in his prime for Monday night. Eccles has improved every season and a big improvement under Frank. Yep, there you go. Let's try Jimmy Hill's 172. Could be fun if not very scary, says Mark Rainbow. Claudia, you're old enough to remember that. I don't know anything about that.
No, I didn't see any games I was born under Jimmy Hill. I was Noel Cantwell was manager when I started watching him. Yes.
Frank Wood says, I think Jay and Milan both deserve to be dropped. And Dean Cousins, former Forest player, used to coach my football. I remember him saying, shoot when you can see the goal. It may get a deflection. That's what Eccles has been doing, isn't he? A few less shots from certain players, though. Milan's not had a shot yet. He's not scored this season. We're pretty much caught up with comments. If you want to move on to the next.
Well, I'll tell you what. We had the Leamington Warwick supporters evening on Tuesday, and Rob Gurney was hosting, and I can't say take your hat off to Rob Gurney because it was a tricky evening. And as he walked through the door, he said to me, he says, "Oh, we could have picked this on a better night, obviously because Middlesbrough had won the night before, and we had that performance against Oxford, and one of the guests was Haji Wright and Mikhail Brow. Now, Mikhail Brow's English is okay, but it's limited, so that was difficult for Rob in the first place. And for anybody who's been to these players' evenings with Haji Wright, he don't say a lot. It's very much one sentence and that's it. He won't elaborate on a story. In fact, the only time he elaborates is when I mentioned how at Wembley, when he had the penalty, I said everybody who was supporting the Sky Blues wanted you to take it because we just felt you would score at that moment. And then he went, oh, I'll tell you something about that. I thought, wow, he's going to tell a story here. They were saying that with Onana in goal, they'd studied him. And as he's waiting for the penalty to take, he sort of leans one way or the other way, and that's how they know which way he's going to dive. And he just waited that split second and then took the penalty because he knew he wouldn't get to it. I thought, wow, he's elaborated. But I wouldn't say, not hard work would be too harsh, I think, Jack, but he's a man of few words, isn't he?
Yeah, and do you know what? I'd have loved. I was itching to try and ask him a question based on that, and then we moved on. He's saying that Onana was always going that same way, or would always indicate where he was going. Callum O'Hare took about 4 or 5 penalties for us that season, and he did that Jovino hop and jump, and then would place the ball in the net. And he'd taken a few penalties for us, but that penalty he took, he didn't do that hop, and Onana went the right way and saved his penalty. So A, why didn't he go the opposite way? And B, why didn't he stick to the routine he knew, doing the hop and placing the penalty? Because Onana committed and got there.
Was that in real time penalty with Haji Wright? Callum O'Hare virtually mirrored in behind him. He virtually mirrored the approach, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't miss Callum O'Hare, do you?
Yeah. Well, the other night he was great for 20 minutes, and I said, typical Callum, when it kind of just disappeared. He used to do that sometimes, didn't he? But going back to that evening, Jack, what did you make to Haji on the night?
Yeah, you can tell the sort of character he is. He's cool, he's calm, he doesn't take the world seriously. I don't think he's ever been unhappy in his life. He just seems so relaxed. And like you say, he wouldn't elaborate on stories. You ask him something and he'd just sort of go, yeah, that was right. And he'd maybe say a sentence and you'd think, go on, kick on and give us an anecdote or whatever. We've previously had Louis Binks. And I remember you asked him a question, Claudia. You said, I hear there was something about a hotel room in Toronto. And he went on for about 15 minutes about basically living with Thierry Henry for 3 months. Yes. And it was like, Haji might not have a story that's as wow as that was, but Haji's played in LA. He grew up in LA. He's played in LA. He moved to Schalke, I think it was. He moved to Turkey and he's moved to Coventry. There's a lot that he could have spoke about. And even when he was asked
about white teeth and hair transplants, couldn't he? From his experience in Turkey.
But even like we talked about the game at Wolves, and he sort of went, well, yeah, we always had the belief we were going to win. Even at 2-1 down, we thought we were going to win. We pushed on, we got the equaliser. and we knew we'd got 10 minutes to go. And we felt like we could get the winner, and then didn't imagine how it happened, but we knew we could, and we did it. And then we shut up. We're like, oh, okay. Any more? You know, one of the best days of my life as a Cov fan. Come on.
Because Rob said it must have been a great feeling. He went, yeah. Oh, come on. This players' evening is going to be over in 10 minutes.
Who was in rugby this week, Claudio? Do you know?
Sorry?
What players were in rugby this week?
Bidders and
Wolf.
Sorry? Wolfenden.
That would have been all right. Mark Sylvester's a great lad, isn't he?
I've known Mark. I've known him quite a long time. We've had, because he's part of the forum group. We have the meeting with Doug and everything. So I know him really well. It was a top bloke.
We've done well with the bus. The bus is full every week. The workers is busy with it. A fair play to him.
All the supporter groups have done brilliant to get fans to home and away games. You know, because some people, I would say, the rebirth of these supporter groups have helped a lot of people get to away games who wouldn't normally make the journey because they don't want to drive. They're fearful of getting in the car and going to a football ground, basically. And for a lot of people, even the home games, because a lot of people, it's a lot of hassle. So they all provide buses to the home matches. They do a great job, I think. A lot of work. And the
clubs support them quite well, don't they?
Well, they do, but you have to earn it to do it. It's not cheap. Right. It's a lot of money involved, and really, they kind of hinted that it shouldn't be around the money. It should be about basically helping supporter groups. So I don't know what's going to happen next year. You never know of our club. Things change very quickly, and you don't get told about it to the last minute. Basically.
Do you think if we get promoted and then we're in a Premier League, would you be surprised if a buyout happened and Doug moved?
I would not be surprised one little bit. The club's going to be worth between 300 to 500 million if we get promoted, and that's from
acquisition, talent,
players who are now apparently ranked second or third in the transfer market thing, which Doug used as a didn't he? I'm trying to find the right word, Jack, but he used transfer market thing, whatever it's called. He used that as a reference. We were fourth then. I think we're second now. Apparently,
in player value,
yeah.
I bet we've gone down in the last 12 games.
This is now. And Kieran Maguire said we'd be worth close to £500 million if we go up because of the stadium and everything else with the players, the assets. It's not just a stadium; it's everything. Conference, hotel, whatever. The improvements at Brighton, the whole package. We own it. He owns it all, doesn't he? Basically, so it's got some value. So that's a great deal.
Get some concerts in there in the summer. I think Tom Grennan might play the stadium. I think that's what I'm hearing.
Well, Vicky's going to say take that, aren't you, Vicky?
Oh, take that, Ron.
Are you going, Vicky?
But not to see take that, to see Belinda Carlisle.
Oh, sure. Oh, she's supporting.
And the script. That's who I'm excited about.
Yeah. I saw Bruce Springsteen at the Rico, and it probably was the best night I've ever had in the stadium. He was incredible.
Yeah, I saw Oasis there when they played in 2009, I think it was. And then I also saw the most bizarre evening, Muse, supported by Dizzy Rascal, who come on stage and went, "Come on, Coventry, you MFs, come on, you Fs, come on." I'm thinking, me and my wife are sitting there going, I don't think they've given him the right script here. Know your audience, Dizzy. People around us going, "What's he doing? He's swearing. Well, who's an MF?" Anyway, more comments, Jack.
There's not been a lot actually. Milan needs drop in play KKH as Jamie Carter.
He hasn't been good, Milan, the last 4 or 5 games.
It's in our head. We need to get that sorted. We might start to turn a corner. Great points mentioned by, he said Dan Neil and then corrected himself.
Thanks, Carlos.
Hadji had terrible mic technique too. Said, to be fair, we could hear Hadji on the mic. Miguel was very softly spoken, quite a strong Spanish accent. His English was good, very good. Not perfect, but very good. But he was quite quiet.
I'm going to say it because he told us. He might get in trouble, but he's got a broken rib.
Yeah.
That's why he's not been picked.
Right. I don't even know. I know he's a left-sided player. I don't know if he's a full-back. I don't know if he's a wing-back, or I don't know if he's a winger. We really don't know anything about him, do we?
He can't head a ball if you watched him at Charlton, that's for sure.
he alluded to being a striker as a kid. Then he became a winger, and he's moved backwards. He's only 24. He said his preferred position would be left wing back of a back five, is what he told us. But he's happy playing left back or left wing, basically anywhere on the left. He's not going to play anywhere else. He's a left-sided player, and he prefers to be a wing back, is what he told us. We don't play that. We play a back four.
You understood that, did you?
Yeah. I was on the front row, Claudia. You were kind of next to him.
So we're going to talk about, I believe, now you've obviously told us what you think about Middlesbrough to sit somebody on Hackney and the formation and everything. But I think Jack wanted to say that we've got like upcoming fixtures, haven't we? Which we thought we just briefly look at. We'll start with you, Vicky. So we got what's happening at the weekend. There's a load of cup matches for a start. So we've got a real good chance on Monday to get the right result and feel comfortable that other teams have still got to play. But in the next 5 games, what are we looking at now? Because surely we need minimum 3 wins and a draw. What are the next 5, Jack?
I'm just going to have a look.
So our next 5 fixtures, we've obviously got Boro at home. We're away at the Hawthorns. We're away at Bramall Lane. We're at home to Stoke. And then we're away at Ashton Gate. So there are next 5 fixtures. And just to give you the roundup as well, Ipswich are at Wrexham in the FA Cup. Hull host Chelsea. They're both Friday night. And in the league, you've got Millwall is the only crucial game. They're away at Sheffield Wednesday, and they could officially relegate Sheffield Wednesday to League One this weekend. So Barry Bannon could relegate Sheffield Wednesday.
He could do a Dennis Law, couldn't he, and score the goal. That sends him down.
Can you imagine him celebrating? Go, yeah.
But also, I think Ipswich go to Wrexham next weekend in the league, don't they?
They do, yes. Yeah.
So, Vicky, our next 5 matches we have, which we've done in the reverse fixtures, done very well in, by the way.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why we can't, do it again. I know that our form's not been great, but we're going to be positive
15
here.
points in the reverse fixtures, by the way.
How many?
15.
15.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now, being positive, Vicky, because that's what we want to try and do here. You're not allowed to say anything less than 9 points. So, where are we going to get the 9 points minimum in those games?
You know me, I'm always optimistic. I think we're going to win every week. I can't. Right. I really believe that we're going to win on Monday. So that'll be 3 points.
Brilliant.
And then I think that we're also going to win at the Hawthorns, even though that's a bit of not a great ground for us. But I actually think after we beat Middlesbrough, we'll be buzzing. And West Brom are looking poor at the minute. So I reckon that's another 3 points. I reckon we'll get a draw up at Sheffield United. So that'll be 7 points. Beat Stoke, 10 points.
Oh.
Draw at Bristol City, 11 points. So 11 points.
Now, under normal circumstances, I think that's a good shout. If you take away form and the way the squads are built up and what we've got and what they've got, that's not a bad shout as far as I'm concerned. You're not.
It was October. I think Vicky's right.
Yeah, it's a good shout what you're saying there, Vicky.
I feel as well that a bit like last season, we only need a couple of results, then we'll get a run going. We're very much a run type team, so we get a result against Boro and we get a result at the Hawthorns, and we want to win again. And then, at the minute we're all a bit nervous, thinking, "Oh dear, the form's not great." But then we'll be like back on that roll again. That's all we just need to get going.
Because what you're saying there is, if you win those 5 games, you're literally 5 more wins away from getting promoted. How's that for an incentive? So my Easter prediction could be right. Jack, what do you reckon?
I reckon it's 10 maximum.
Okay, still good.
I think we draw to Middlesbrough, and I would be happy enough with a draw to Middlesbrough. I think we win at the Hawthorns for the first time ever, pretty much, it feels like. My dad's been there 7, 8, 10, 15 times. He's never seen us win. And that includes a 5-4, a 7-1, an 8-0, a 15-0, or whatever else we've lost at the Hawthorns. I think we're going to lose at Bramall Lane. I've just got this feeling they're in a good run, especially at home. I know they've just lost to Boro at home, but Boro are exceptional. So I think that would be a loss. I think we're going to beat Stoke. You know, we've got a little bit of recent history with them, obviously losing in the FA Cup. A couple of good last-minute winners with Bobby and Efron. And I think we're going to beat Bristol City away. Bristol City is not usually a ground we're brilliant at, but Bristol are just so hit and miss that, you know, they'll either beat us 3-0 or we'll beat them 2-3-0. There's no in
They're
between.
the of a championship team, aren't they?
Yeah.
They'll lose 4-0 and then they'll go and stuff someone at home. I think we beat Middlesbrough on Monday night. Baggies away. They're our poor. We don't beat Sheffield United. We beat Stoke at home because they're on an absolute downer. And I'd say we get 9 points out of the next 5 games.
Sounds not too bad, actually. If you beat Middlesbrough, I fancy a win on Monday, actually. I do fancy a win. Then we've got the Baggies. We probably draw. Is it Sheffield straight after? Probably a draw there. So I'm on, I mean, is that 5?
5.
Then Stoke at home.
Stoke win. I'm on 8. So I could be 9. I think 10 might be a bit ambitious at the minute, but 9 would be good in this set of fixtures.
Ironically, Claudio, I've gone with 10 points there. You've gone with 9, but you're saying we're going to be unbeaten across 5 games.
Yeah.
I feel like we've not become a team that are unbeatable. We've become a team that are beatable, but I think we will turn it around. This isn't me being really negative. I think we will turn our form around, but I don't see us going blocks of 5 matches without losing games, especially at the places like Bramall Lane where Sheffield United are right up for it at the moment.
Bizarrely, though, I mean, Southampton, Oxford touched the ball, was it 7 times in our box? And I reckon they touched it 3 times in one move. They didn't create anything. QPR had basically 2 attempts on goal. We'd virtually done the hard work against QPR and let ourselves down badly after we scored. Norwich did have a few chances. We rode the storm, got ahead, and then not a lot happened in the second half. We just gifted them goals, didn't we? Because of the way we set up. So we're not having teams have 10 shots on target. You know, I think Middlesbrough have won. Have a look at this. I'm sure they've won the last 5 or 6 games by odd goal. Where we've lost games by an odd goal. There's not been a lot in these games for either team. But when you're winning by the odd goal, it looks like you're wonderful.
You know, when Jim was explaining that season when we went up, did he say we beat Watford last game of the season? Is that what he said?
Colchester.
He mentioned Watford in it, though. We've got Watford last game. I wonder when that comes into play. But you look at our running, the last 5 games, Sheffield Wednesday at home, Blackburn away, Portsmouth at home, Wrexham at home, Watford away. That's not a bad 5 ending fixtures, is it?
No. And have you seen Boro's last 5?
Go on.
Boro at home, last 5. Home to Portsmouth, away at Portman Road, tricky. Home to Sheffield Wednesday, gimme. Home to Watford, so they've also got Watford. So Watford have got a massive say in who's going to win the title, probably. And then last game of the season, they're away at Wrexham, who at the moment are chasing a playoff position.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not easy. I know Will have just played Wrexham as well, so Wrexham are going to have a big say in it. But I think we've got an easier 5.
We have, yeah.
I think we just got to look at what's behind us, and we're 5 points clear at the minute. Hopefully, the games in hand they play, they don't win. If they get a couple of draws, that's still good for us, isn't it? You know, but it is down to us now, isn't it, guys? We just,
I think just for our own minds, right? We've had trauma in recent years. We need a bit of trauma, else it wouldn't be right, would it?
I can't do it easy. Yeah.
Vicky, me and my son watch the 12:30 kickoff, and we win. So me and Jack, we've watched and we win, and it's like, what's there to worry about? There's nothing to worry about. It's an odd feeling, and I do think we have become a bunch of moaners, the fans, at the minute. We've become entitled, didn't we? We've become entitled, and
there's 2 words, Dan. There's 2 words I don't like at the minute. Entitled's one of them, and 100%. When people say something, they go 100%. I hate that. It's doing me head in. And entitled's another one. I just thought we were just enjoying being so far in front that we couldn't believe it, really. Before we wrap things up tonight, and thanks for everybody for the comments. I hope you've liked. We've only got 11 likes on Facebook. Come on, hit the like button if you haven't liked us. My experience when I went to Kenya, was it was my honeymoon. So it's an interesting experience.
Considering it was your first marriage, Claudia, you've brought that up more times than I can remember in the last 6 weeks.
But I incredible. It was a great holiday. Apart from the time I had the Mombasa Blitz, where I was struggling big time, and we went to Savo National Park, which is about the size of Wales, and we stayed in a treetop hotel and all sorts, which was amazing. I can't remember if I've told the story on the channel, but I'll say it again. We went to before we entered the park itself. It says this place is massive. We're going to be a few hours before you get to your hotel in the middle of nowhere. If you need the toilet, go now. I was desperate, absolutely desperate to go. So dashed into this, what was a block of, well, you can imagine what it was going to be like. And I went to the loo and then quickly realised there's no paper anywhere. And I thought, oh no, what do I do? I looked in my wallet and it cost me about 60 Kenyan shillings, that toilet trip. And I thought, if I get done, I could get done here, couldn't I? I could get sent to prison if I get caught doing this to money. But I had no option. But
the exchange rate's fantastic.
Well, it was that day.
Came home from the academy on Wednesday. I went for a coffee. So I had a cup of filtered coffee, 2 cinnamon whirl buns.
Yeah.
I had a haircut, which cost me £1.14. So I paid him double, £2.28 for my haircut. Then I managed to go to the shop, get a litre of water, a Cadbury's fruit and nut bar, and an energy drink for £4.80.
Oh, brilliant.
Mate, I feel like a millionaire out here. It's great.
When I was struggling, they had to taxi a doctor to me to the hotel, because people don't know, Mombasa's like an island, isn't it? You got the north bit and the south bit, and I think the south side's where all the fancy hotels are, and you got the main town and that, and they always tend to go in pairs, because obviously, it's not, we're talking 30 odd years ago, not a rich country. There's always trouble. You got to watch your back, basically. You got to be careful. So you have to go in pairs. They're telling you, they can tell you're a tourist, the usual thing you get told about, until you get there. And actually, it's perfectly fine. There's no problems whatsoever. So they had to ship the doctor to me, who turned up with the biggest needle. We're talking like this. No, it's huge. And I said, I'm going to do the impression. I says, where are you going to stick that? Thinking, surely, that looks a bit big for my arm. That's going to come. He went, I'm going to put it in your buttocks. And I thought, oh my God. And he told me to bend down. And before I could say ouch, it was in and out. And I thought, my gosh. Sorted me out 24 hours. Unbelievable. And my ex-wife was pharmacy. That's she was, that's her thing. She looked at it, she went, I've never seen that in my life in the UK. I don't know what is giving you. I said, well, it's worked. But it is, my mistake was drinking. They did fantastic fruit cocktails. That was my problem. I was just drinking fruity cocktails, basically. So it wasn't good. So anyway, I hope you haven't had that sort of experience, Dan.
No, I've stayed away from meat to start with. I have.
Yeah.
Can I give a shameless plug out if possible?
No, you carry on with your pod. And tell us exactly.
Footy Man Dan on YouTube, and if you visit my Facebook, Danny Elliott, we've got a bit of a GoFundMe. Basically, what that will do will give the younger junior academy members of the local community free football for a year. We're up to about £900. It's only been up for 6 days. So kickstart football in Kenya. Have a look on my Facebook, and it's all on there. And just the price of a Starbucks. Don't have a Starbucks tomorrow. Just donate that, and that'll be perfect.
Brilliant. And do you think there's going to be some talent coming out of Kenya? Can you feel it?
It's not about ability, it's about exposure. And I hope that the AFCON will give Kenya the exposure they need, because there's some exceptional talent here, without a doubt.
No, I know you. Can I say this? You had a chat with Man City. Am I allowed to mention that?
Yeah, we had a partnership meeting with Manchester City, and that would be about hosting Manchester City football camps. And obviously, not talent ID is the priority, but we would become the Manchester City, not franchise, but Manchester City supplier of Manchester City product in Kenya. So yeah, we had Everton yesterday as well. So we've got some decisions to make. So we've had Everton, Man City. I'm trying to get Chelsea, and then between the three of them, we'll play one off each other and hope we get the right price and how it works, really.
Brilliant. I think, well, fair play to you, mate, because it's a tough gig to do anyway, but to do it in a different country, different continent as well, and to try and establish yourself, I think it's fantastic. No doubt you're going to come on again, and I'll tell you what,
it's been brilliant.
I think you'll be good to come on after a match. I think that'd be good.
And analyse it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Actually, we'll sort that out for one of the games. That'd be interesting, and we can let you waffle on, and we'll just agree with you. But
I always ring up. I used to be a regular on CWR. Here's one for you. Years ago, when we had Adi Boothroyd.
Yeah.
And we were in the Rico. It's fairly new to the Rico. I rang up CWR and I said, we need to generate more of an atmosphere in the ground. Why don't we name the noisy corner Singer's Corner with a play on our previous name? Mm-hmm. That was on CWR. The next day, or the next game, Eddie Boothroyd comes up on the mic and announces that it's now called Singer's Corner. He stole my thunder. That's it. I was sat with my mate Chris Hamlet, and I was sat with Chris, and I'm like, he's nicked that off me. No one believes me, but it's the truth. I named Singer's Corner.
Brilliant. Jack, any more last comments before we wrap it up?
Dawn says, "Oh, Claudio, they are 100% entitled."
Stop saying that.
Go on, Dawn.
Oh, yes, that's what you did there, Dawn.
Frank Wood said, "City fans have always been very fickle. When we are winning, they are great. When not, they just turn up."
Wow, look at Leicester.
Claudio Jambo, Mombasa is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. But it's what you get told. The first thing they told me as we landed was hide all your jewelry, take everything off. I'm thinking, where are we coming to? It's like,
I've got one more. I was in Nairobi, a suburb of Nairobi on Saturday. In the street, I'm having a cigarette. This policeman goes, he said, "Can you Google what the fine is for smoking in the street?" It's a 50,000 shilling fine and 6 months in prison. So he then got my arm up my back.
Oh.
For 45 minutes, my Kenyan friends who I work with were talking. I was arm up my back for 45 minutes. And basically what they do, they talk as long as they can, saying we don't know what to do. And they then expect you to offer them a bung.
Oh,
but in my head I'm thinking, if I bribe you, surely that's a bigger crime than smoking in the street. So then after 45 minutes, he goes, "You have to give us some money." And then we fought that and we managed to get away. But yeah, I had my arm up about 45 minutes for smoking in the street. I was gobsmacked. I said, "Look, I'm here to coach football. If you were the referee, don't give me a straight red. Just give me a yellow card, a warning, and we can all walk off." All they wanted was a little bum.
We were traveling after we'd been to Safari. We were traveling back to the hotel, and there was a police block. And the driver says, "I don't know what this is all about." And we stopped, and he said to me, for some reason, I'm sat in the front. It's like one of those big Nissan people carrier things that you do the Safari on. And he said to me, I don't know why he said to me, "You need to stay quiet." There you go. So, okay. And he wound down the window, and this policeman had got his machine gun, whatever it is, sat in through the window across me, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm definitely not going to say anything. And they spoke in the native language, and Swahili, and they started chatting, and the next thing you know, he just lets him go. And I said, "What's all that about?" He went, "Money."
I'm going to finish on a high note with them. Honestly, I've never met so many happy, warm, friendly people. They've reignited my soul. They're just wonderful. Honestly, they're wonderful people.
School kids, I thought, were amazing because you see them living in some horrible conditions. They go to school in the smartest uniforms I've ever seen. Unbelievable.
And they have to pay for school, Every school they have to pay, and if they can't afford to pay, the kid isn't allowed on the school bus, and he has to have the day off. You have to pay for school and the health service.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. I thought, well, look at these kids; they look so fantastic all in their uniforms.
They're pristine, aren't they?
Yeah, really, really great. Dan, it's been a pleasure having you on.
It really has. Thank you.
Yeah, everything you talked about has gone over the top of my head now. All the coaching stuff, I'm just going to forget about.
Two cinnamon boys, energy drinks, cigarettes down. How do you set an example for play? They were nowhere near me. The players were nowhere near me, and I'm entitled. Hey, P-lol, I'm entitled to just let my hair down every now and again. Keep your nose out.
100%, 100%, absolutely.
You just say Jimmy Greaves used to smoke before, during, and after a game, and he was the best. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And who was the Chelsea manager? Sarri loved the cigarette on the sideline, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Dan, brilliant having you on. Vicky,
thanks, guys. Really appreciate your time, and thanks for having me on. Play up Sky Blues. Come on, City.
Stay on before you go after we've gone. And Vicky, lovely as ever. And Jack, thanks for turning up. So that's us. We'll be back on Sunday, where we've got Chris Kirkland here live, and I'll be here. I think Vicky, you're on, aren't you?
Yeah.
Me, you, Ken, and Chris Kirkland talking about his book and all the trials and tribulations he's gone through as a player and in his personal life. It's going to be a really good show, I think. I'm looking forward to that, actually. There he is with Ken. How tall is he?
He's huge, by the way. He's like 6'6". I went and said hello to him in the fan zone. He's massive.
Yeah,
Ken's not very tall, though, is he? Ken makes him look tall, because Ken's not very tall.
He looks like Jada Silva does, Ken, there. and Ken's probably twice Jada Silva's size.
He looks like a hobbit, doesn't he? Anyway, so
there's only two Jada Silvers.
But we'll be back on Sunday where we'll discuss a bit more about Middlesbrough. We'll catch up with what's happened over the weekend with the results and all the rest of it. And thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Remember, like and subscribe. Tell all your friends, dead or alive, to join in with the channel and the chat. And we'll be back soon. Play up Sky Blues.
Play up Sky Blues.
Sky Blue Fans TV, for the fans, by the fans.